good evening and welcome to our Smyrna Town Council workshop to set our agenda for our November meeting. Before we move into items for discussion, I'm going to ask Mark Adkins to do our prayer, and HG, will you do our pledge for us?
That's right. Father, we just come to you today with a grateful hearts for another beautiful day here in town, Father. We just thank you for the town we live in and for the people that serve it, all of our employees, those who protect us and make us safe. Father, the people that lead, guide, and direct the whole city, all of our leadership and the employees that do so as well, Father, we're just thankful for them. Father, we just come to you today. We want to say a special prayer for the Dual Coleman family and the John Up Church and the loss of Ellen this week and that family as well, Father. Go with us now as we deliberate the business of the town. Give us discernment, lead, guide, and direct us in all we do, and most of all, forgive us where we fail you. It's in these things we pray. Amen.
Amen.
First flag, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, HG. Before we move into our items tonight, we have the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority update from Mr. John Black, Executive Director. Oh, and Mike's going to go first. So, Mike, we are glad to have you. Step on up.
Thank you, Mayor Reed and council members, for giving us an opportunity to get on your agenda this evening. With me this evening is, of course, Paul Lamb, who is a member of our board. John Black, who you all know is Executive Director, and his Deputy Director, Salil Rai. Sometimes when we come before you, we've got our hand out asking for something, needing some help, but tonight's not the case. We'd just like to report some of the activities at the airport, some of the successes that we've enjoyed here recently, and just open it up where if you have any questions about the activities at the airport, we're here to respond to any questions you might have. We're recognized, Smyrna Airport is recognized by the state of Tennessee and by other airports across the nation as a excellent facility. We always strive to be a world-class facility. Our business philosophy is to operate in the black. Before we undertake a business project on the airport, we review it and make sure that it makes good business sense. We come to you in the county to ask for funds to help us on projects, but before we do that, we want to make sure that any loans that we get from the city or the county, we're going to be able to repay on a timely basis. We operate a safe and friendly airport, one that is welcoming to pilots, and we want to be an attractive facility to the clients that's already at the airport, and also be attractive to new business and new opportunities across the state and from everywhere. So it's a great facility. It's a real asset, I think, to the community. We appreciate the partnership that we have with Smyrna, and we want to continue that. And John's going to do the heavy lifting. He has a PowerPoint presentation to make to you tonight, and thank you for your time and attention.
Great. Thanks, Mike.
Good evening. I sincerely appreciate you giving us some time tonight, and I want to say what a pleasure it is to work with all of you. It's such a great team that Smyrna has, and all of you in this room and all your employees, everybody we work with, it's just a real pleasure. So thank you, and we're excited about the airport. We have so much going on and so much planned for the future. So I just wanted to take you through a little bit of what's going on, but first, I can't talk about the airport without talking about the rich history of this airport. It was so important to this town and so important to us, and we take it very seriously, the history of the airport, and we consider it a real honor and privilege to do what we do at the airport, considering all the people that went through that patch of earth that were out there protecting our freedom all those years. Of course, it closed in 1970, and actually the Nashville Airport Authority owned and operated the airport from 1970 until 1991. In the late 1980s, a group of people in this community that had a great vision decided that we needed to have this airport in our local control. So that's when we formed the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport Authority. And we've been operating it ever since. That's our 5 board members. Of course, have 2 represented from the town of Smyrna, Mike Woods, Paul Lamb, 2 from Rutherford County, Helen Colvin and Steve Harrison. Helen has actually been on the board since it was created in 1989. And then Graham Coates is from Laverne. So we have a lot of longevity on the board, and that means a lot. And just as Mike Woods said, we make decisions based on good business sense. So since we've had the Airport Authority since 1991, we've put about $245 million into the airport over that time in public and private money. We're 100% leased. We have 51 businesses on the airport under lease, and we're creating opportunities for more. So this is the airport, our long runway. Our tagline is we can land a 747. We're big enough for that, and we have 8,000 feet. And the other runway, it's runway 119, which you're looking over from the memorial, is 5,546 feet. Next year, we'll be completely redoing that runway, so you're going to see that big lighted X out there for a while. But that's a great project that we were very fortunate to get through the FAA. Of course, our tower is open 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and each year the FAA measures operations at every airport. So in the state of Tennessee, this is kind of how it stacks up. Memphis, of course, is number 1 because of FedEx. Nashville is number 2, and if you've been to Nashville lately, they have a huge growth plan going on there, which is very exciting. And number 3 is Smyrna Airport. So we are neck and neck with Knoxville. So we're very busy. We do about 400 to 500 operations every single day. 3 flight schools. There's a huge pilot shortage right now, and there's a lot of people taking flight training. If you know anyone that wants to be a pilot, now is a great time to get into it, because the return on your investment, while it's a big investment, it's pretty fast to pay that back. We have touched almost every square inch of the airport, sometimes some places more than once in the last 31 years. And we have a lot of plans for the future, but FAA standards are very stringent on all the things that we do. And when people say, what do you do at the airport, it's so many different things, but we always say it's kind of in 3D, because we not only look at the ground, but we look at the ground up, all of our airspace. We work very closely with Nashville Airport, who owns the airspace above us here, and all the interaction there. So, these are some of the things that go on at the airport every day. And this is just a very small sampling of the companies that use the airport right here in Smyrna. Fly in and out. These are, household name kind of companies, and work with the chamber and ECD and people to help bring those companies to our community. Also support our local industry with cargo shipments back and forth. As I mentioned, we're large enough to handle just about anything. If they can't get parts over to Nissan via truck, then we fly them into the airport. We also have our own firefighting and rescue department. Very happy to work with the town of Smyrna and Chief Culberson on that venture, because we kind of share that facility. It saves the town some money, and it works out great for us because we back each other up. We also are neighbors with and support very much so the National Guard, who has a piece of the airport on the east side. We actually do most of the deployments and recovery for all the National Guardsmen that fly in and out each year. Last year we did about almost 4,000 people back and forth, and very happy to support that mission. We also support local sports teams, MTSU, and the people that play MTSU fly in and out of our airport. They charter with Southwest, Delta. So we're already doing those types of operations, and that kind of sets us up for the future, because we do want to have passenger service at Smyrna, and that is included in our master plan. We also support life flight capabilities at the airport. We're home to Vanderbilt Life Flight. The new Ascension helicopter is based at Smyrna. We also have, you may see Sky 5 flying around here a lot, that's based at the airport as well. And, of course, we're home to the Great Tennessee Air Show, and we're excited about that. We try to do it every couple of years, and we will be bringing it back in June of next year, June 10th and 11th, 2023. So pretty soon, we'll be getting contacted by them for the winter visit where they come and take a look around the airport. So we'll make sure you let you know about that. If you don't know about it, you'll hear about it because they'll make a little noise when they come to town. But, this is really one of the things that's so important about the air show is what you see in that picture. It's inspiring the youth to get up close and personal with aviation because being in this business for a long time, there's so many people I've run across that say, I wouldn't be a pilot, I wouldn't be in aviation if I hadn't gone to the air show at Smyrna. And that's really powerful. That's something that's so special that we get to do for people. So it's a long-lasting thing that can affect someone's entire life. This time of year, we're kind of winding down the hurricane season, but we're also home to a lot of operations, hurricane evacuation operations up and down the East Coast and the Gulf Coast. We have agreements with those facilities to pick up and leave and come here in the event of a hurricane coming onto the coast. And you may have seen this guy flying around back in July during Shark Week, so we have a blimp operation there. Not too many hangars that can house a blimp, but we have one. And on the west side of the airport, of course, what we call the Airport Business Park, anchored by the airport terminal and business center, which is completely full. And we have two fixed base operators, Azure Flight Support and Hollingshead Aviation, which they're kind of part of our front door to the community. And Hollingshead Aviation is constructing some new hangars as well. Contour Aviation is located on Blue Angel Way there, and these are some of the routes they fly across the United States. They've just added about 10 more cities to their city pairs, and they've partnered with American, so now you can book completely through American and Contour. And they picked up a lot of the SkyWest routes recently, but all the airplanes that Contour flies all over this country, they all come home to Smyrna to get worked on. And they have so many technicians there, and they can't hire enough quickly enough. So they're very busy, and this is their world headquarters right here in Smyrna. And the Airport Business Park Building 4 is now complete. This is when we partnered with Hillwood out of Texas, the Ross Perot Company, and they've been just a fantastic partner. It's been very good for the airport and the community. These are some of the businesses located out there. NFI, they do logistics for Lowe's, Home Improvement, Hunter Fan, Frankie, George P. Johnson, and also UPS. And we do have some UPS flights that come in and out every night. So the future, we've got big plans, and we are big believers in sustainability. We have a 1 megawatt solar farm there at the airport that was put in almost 10 years ago now. It's got 6 acres, there's 3,400 panels, and it's just great for the community. Also, we have outfitted the airfield itself with a lot of LED lighting, and we have an apiary on the airport, so we produce our own honey. Have 1,700 acres, so we thought, it's not just for airplanes flying around, we have bees flying around out there too. And we just wrapped up our airport master plan, which is really our 15 to 20-year blueprint for the airport. And this is very important. It's a very deep dive into so many different areas that we use on a daily basis to help guide the decisions we make. This is kind of one of the products of the master plan called the Airport Layout Plan. The green areas are kind of some of the taxiways that we want to move and so forth over the next 5 to 10 years, and some of those projects will be happening probably the next 2 to 3 years. Thunderbird Drive, we extended this summer, finished that up, and opened up a whole new aviation development area. We just finished this new hangar 692, which Contour leased. Actually, they're in the very next day after we got it all finished. And that hangar, we built it large enough to put in a 737-800, which is what Southwest flies. And that's the reason we had to put the little tiny door at the top so the tail could get through. But there's a lot of 737s out in the world, so we're building things for the future. This is Stevens Aerospace. They moved here from Nashville. They have about 50 technicians on site now. They have plans already to expand that and build an additional hangar and add a lot more technicians, and they just love it here. Those are very high-paying jobs, and this is a beautiful hangar. This was the test they did. See if this is going to work. No. So this is the foam test that we have one in the hangar we just built as well, but this test, in about 3 minutes, it filled the hangar up this high with foam, so you don't want it to go off accidentally. And then this is the runway that we'll be completely reconstructing next year. We got an $8 million grant to do that, and very excited about it. It's kind of another sustainability practice because we'll be kind of using the old runway as the base for the new runway. So TDOT recently did an economic impact study, and Smyrna has an annual impact of $232 million. Just this year alone, all those projects that I just mentioned have added an additional $45 million into the airport. So it's been a busy year. And this is what's important to us, that we're a world-class facility, because a lot of times people coming here, the first thing they see when they get to our community is the airport. So we hold ourselves to a really high standard and try to go beyond that. And of course, we love our local business, our existing businesses, and we promote those, as well as working with all the other entities, including yourselves, to bring more good jobs to Smyrna. And that's a big part. The airport is part of that toolbox that is so important. So that's our website. There's a lot more information there, but I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I could stand up here and talk about the airport all night long, but we're really proud of it. We're proud of our partnership with the town, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for John?
John, no questions, but that $232 million impact speaks loudly to the community here as well. So thank you for the job that you guys do at the airport. It's a great partnership, and we appreciate it, having you here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Feelings
John,
mutual.
I echo what Mark said. You guys do a fantastic job, and just so glad you guys are out there. Appreciate it.
We always look at you guys as like a gem of the community. You're kind of one of those things in our community that makes Smyrna different than other small towns or other towns in Tennessee about the same size. It puts us kind of in a different class, and we appreciate what you do.
Thank you. We're very, very fortunate to have this airport.
Do you anticipate additional growth from a regional airline perspective?
That would be our first step, would be more of a regional type airline. We did, and I didn't point it out, but we have reserved an area between Hollingshead Aviation and where Contour is for a future terminal right there. It's part of our,
Fly any flights out of,
pardon?
does Contour fly any passenger flights out?
They don't.
They did at one time.
The route, they did for a little while, that was under a different program, but the routes they fly now are under a program called Essential Air Service, and it's kind of from small communities to a medium or large hub airport, and they get government subsidized routes. So like, for instance, Tupelo to Nashville. But if they don't fly from a small community to a large one, they don't get that money. So that's why they actually overfly us and go into Nashville. Because if they flew here, they wouldn't get the subsidy.
Y'all serve as another front door for our community, and y'all show very well for us.
We appreciate it. We take it very seriously, and we're proud to do it.
Other questions or comments?
Mayor, Council, I just like to point out, John and I know each other for many years, and prior to coming here, I spent 5 years doing economic development work, and I cannot say enough about, the partnership that the county has, the partnership that the town has with the airport. But I'll play off of your comment. It's a gem. It's a crown jewel, and it's amazing the attention it gets when you start dealing with customers looking for locations. And to be able to fly their executives or fly materials in and out of this airport is a huge benefit. And we do appreciate everything that John and his group does for the town and for the county.
Thank you, Brian.
I'd like to echo everything everyone said up here. Brian, I was going to mention the same thing. I don't think people realize when we're going after business and industry, y'all are one of the main things that we tout. And we just appreciate you all, we appreciate the employees there, but also your board. And you all are also great about stepping up, being part of the community, whether it's an event we're doing or the run or anything else. So we definitely feel the partnership, and I think that's what it is, a true partnership, so.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anything else for John or Swill or Paul or Mike? Thank you all for you all too. So thanks for sharing
you.
tonight. It's always
Thanks for the
nice to get an update.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to items for discussion. You all are welcome to stay if you'd like to stay, but you also can leave if you'd rather do that.
Thank you for excusing me.
Okay, item 1 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a no-cost contract with TDOT to share access to their live video via CCTV.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is an annual contract with TDOT. Gives us access to their CCTV cameras, either on 24 and also through the smart corridor system.
Questions for Tom on this? Okay. We'll move on to item 2, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement with TDOT regarding roles and responsibilities for maintenance of a portion of the I-24 smart corridor system within town limits.
Thank you. This is the city of Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, Metro Davidson County. We're all given the same type of, the same agreement to work with TDOT and to maintain components on the smart corridor system. Page 76 and 77, really, of the integrated corridor management document that was uploaded does indicate some of the maintenance responsibilities that the town is doing. We're pretty much doing all those PMs already as it is. We've been doing that for many years as part of just maintaining our system. It does spell out specifically on page 77 more the responsibilities of TDOT as far as what equipment they're going to maintain in each cabinet. And again, that's just the signals along the smart corridor, which is between 24 and State Route 1, Lowry Street on both Sam Ridley and on Lee Victory, and then of course along State Route 1 throughout Lowry Street through Smyrna. All of these items that are checkboxed under local agency are ones that we normally maintain and we would maintain regardless. The additional items are ones that are additional, are extra that TDOT put in there for the smart corridor system that they're going to maintain. So it should not be any additional cost to the town.
Questions for Tom on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 3, and while Tom, he's going to grab that from you. Item 3 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with TDOT to provide TAP grant funds for the Enon Springs, Hazelwood, Mason Tucker sidewalk project.
Yes, this is a contract that TDOT submitted to us to move forward with our TAP grant that we got for the Enon Springs Road sidewalk project. They just need us to sign this and get it back to them so we can get a notice of proceed to NEPA phase.
Which part of Enon Springs is this?
It will go from Old Nashville Highway to Hazelwood, and then it also goes down Hazelwood to Todd Lane, and it also goes from Enon Springs on Mason Tucker up to Hilltop Rosenwald Park.
This is sidewalk rehab?
Yes, yes.
Lord knows we got to get it in NEPA phase, you know how long that takes.
That was out loud.
Any questions for Tom on this? Item 4, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Kimberly Horn to complete the NEPA design, right-of-way, and utility clearance for the Enon Springs sidewalk project.
So we had shortlisted respondents to an RFQ for this project, for the TDOT project we just talked about, the Enon Springs sidewalk project. Kimberly Horn was ranked first. This is the contract for them to do the work. I want to go ahead and approve that so that as soon as we do get notice to proceed to NEPA, Kimberly Horn can go ahead and immediately start on the project.
Questions for Tom on this one? Sorry. Tom, not that you're boring or anything, just. Okay.
Not the first person to tell me that.
Item 5, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to sign the TDEC Notice of Intent Permit application for the town's MS4 program.
Every year, the town has to re-up our NPDES permits, so we have to submit a notice of intent to TDEC. All this information is what TDEC requires us to submit. It will be an electronic submittal so that we don't have anything on this to actually sign. So once it is approved by council, then we can set up the login for the mayor to click the box to sign off on electronically.
MS4 is stormwater?
Yes, sir.
Other questions? Okay, item 6, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an easement agreement with USACE for a stormwater outfall along Florence Road.
This is an existing drainage easement that the town has through Army Corps property, and this is a renewal of the easement agreement that we have with them. It's for a 50-year easement with the Army Corps, allowing us to discharge stormwater through their property and also to maintain an easement through there in case we need to go in and make any repairs or maintenance to it.
Renewal of an existing.
Yes, yes.
Other questions? Okay, item 7 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a service extension agreement for the town's annual pest control. Hey, Rex.
Mayor, council, the town accepted bids back in 2019. The bids were for monthly, seasonal, and as-requested services. The initial term was for 2 years with 2 additional one-year renewals. At this time, we wish to extend the second one-year renewal term. The staff recommends giving the mayor the authority to sign the extension agreement with Wayne's Pest Control.
Any questions for Rex on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 8, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with MR Systems Incorporated relative to the work at the water treatment plant for 2022-2023.
Hello,
How are you?
doing well. How
Do you
are
only wear that tie twice a month?
I wear it at home all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, It's
okay.
great to be a Tennessee Vol. You wear it anytime.
Gotcha,
Right, Mark?
gotcha.
Okay. So this is our annual renewal of with MR Systems for preventive maintenance, telemetry, SCADA at the water plant.
Questions for Mike on this? Okay. Item 9, approval of terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an annual maintenance contract with Espiritech.
And this is actually a renewal as well. This is for the gas SCADA system.
Questions on this annual renewal? Okay. Item 10, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with T&H for construction admin, SRF loan admin, and inspection of the Basin A8, A9 sewer rehab project.
Yes, ma'am. This is the contract with Jerome and his folks to do, like you said, the construction admin project representation for the SRF project, sewer rehab Basin A8 and A9.
Any questions on this? Okay. Item 10, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an engineering service proposal with Thomas and Hutton to continue sewer flow monitoring.
Yes, ma'am. We completed the first 12 months of the sewer flow monitoring, and within that data, it did turn out that the basin that we're working in now with A8 and A9 and the rest of the basin that we have applied for the ARP grant is the #1 priority. So now we will be moving these flow monitoring meters to narrow down and see what the next project for I&I is.
Questions on this one? Item 12, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute contract amendment number 3 with Thomas and Hutton for CEI service extension for the Olive Branch Sewer Project.
Yes, this is to extend Thomas and Hutton for inspections on the project through November 30th. Did get word today that they are getting very close to being able to make Phase 1 and Phase 2 active. They're very, very close, a little closer on Phase 1, but within the next 2 weeks, I'm hopeful that we can activate the line in, the main line in Phase 1 and 2.
Okay. Item 13, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute change order number 4 relative to the wastewater treatment plant expansion.
Yes, ma'am. These are some things that kind of wrapping up towards the end of the project. They include surveillance camera work, clarifier sidewalk replacement, polyblend polymer feed skids, which are electronic units that will feed the polymer into dewatering. That's what we haul off to the landfill. Some variable frequency drive stuff. The one thing on here, exterior coating, concrete coating on new structures, that's split into 2 change orders, and the reason is, on the new stuff, SRF will reimburse us for coating these structures. On the existing stuff, they will not, so that is why there's another change order coming here.
Okay.
And this still, with this change order, we're still about 66,000 under budget.
Okay. Questions on this one? Okay. Item 14, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute change order number 5 relative to the wastewater treatment plant expansion.
Again, on this change order, these are things that SRF will not cover, okay? So the equalization basin, we built a new one right beside the old one. The old one is just a structure standing there, so it needs to be taken down. Additional milling and paving, these places outside that Judy disturbed, we need to pave it to match the whole thing. So we're paving the entire plant site. And then the existing concrete coating is the rest of it. Even with doing this, we're still just a little under 0.5% over on the total overall budget for the plant. Unless something odd happens, I do not expect there to be any more change orders here for this project.
Questions for Mike on this one? Okay. Approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a natural gas 50-year easement with the Corps of Engineers.
And this is kind of like the one Tom has. It's along Florence Road behind Lake Farm, Florence Commons. It is a gas easement. Due to the cost of this one, we had to bring this one to you guys for approval.
Any questions for Mike on this one? Okay, item 16 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Automo for, is that how it is? Otmo?
Altmo.
Go ahead, how is it?
Otmo.
Otmo, for the purchase and support of an athletic field robot painter for the Parks and Recreation Department. I bet you got some excited people about this.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we've worked on this for a while, actually. I think we demoed the first time in the coldest day of the year, last year, over in Franklin, actually. But staff and I have been kind of working on this for a while, and they brought it to my attention last year, early this year, really, about these robot athletic field painters. So we have demoed 3 of those. We put out an RFP as a town and received 3 proposals, which is in your packet. And the one we selected, most of them are lease-type deals for 5 or 6 years. The one we have recommended is not. It's a purchase outright. And I guess the good thing about this is it should save time. We spent about 2 weeks prior to the soccer season laying out fields, 2 to 3 staff members doing that and painting those. This is done by satellite. You pretty much have a tablet and work off of that on a Google Earth image, put it over that, and it will lay it out for you once it finds the corners. So I had to see it to believe it, and after seeing it and talking to some of the references, I do believe in it. I think it will save us time. I think it will benefit us mostly at the soccer park, because we have so many fields, and at football fields. As far as foul lines, baseball and softball, it's easier just to stripe those. But the unit we selected does not require a base station. And it does obviously work off of a tablet, so to speak. We have asked our soccer league to chip in on this. It's a $40,000 unit. The soccer league is going to pay for $5,000 over 3 years to help pay for that, and football might help out as well.
Great.
And I
Definitely think
understand if
it's
you
a-
have questions.
Well, I've watched some videos on it. I definitely think it's a thing of the future. So it's pretty amazing what they can do. Anybody have questions or comments? Okay.
I spent some time talking to your son about those today.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he's pretty up on them, and he's pretty high on it, too. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounds like it's really going to be a
I think
great
it's,
addition.
after meeting all the people that demoed these, it's really coming along in our area now. Andy Gilly over in Hendersonville, he said, I don't know how we ever got away from, was able to do it without it. And he's got one person that kind of does 20, 25 fields a week on that.
But the logos they can do and all that, it's just, I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Right.
So, okay. Item 17, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Tennessee Rehabilitation Center relative to the recreation field area used by the Parks and Recreation Department.
Yes, ma'am. This is one y'all see every year. We have an annual agreement with the Rehab Center for their 6-acre property over there where the ball fields are, and we're just asking for approval of that again. Our baseball league primarily uses that, and they are allowing us to use the parking area again. So for a while, they had that blocked off, but we're able to get good use of that, and we don't have to pay for the land. We just mow and maintain it.
Questions for Mike on this?
I'm assuming that baseball is pretty much who uses that these days?
They do, yes, sir. That's who we schedule to use it, and there's some people over there that just go over and hit and things
Yeah.
like that throughout. They know it's a dirt field, they'll go use it.
Questions for Mike? Okay, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Minnesota Children's Museum for the rental of Wild Kratts Ocean Adventure for the Smyrna Outdoor Adventure Center.
Yes, ma'am. Staff coordinated the rental of the Wild Kratts exhibit for the winter and spring of 2023. It'll be on display from January 21st through May 7th. Does have a cost of $30,000. It's usually $50,000. I mean, it was on the rental list. We were able to get a discount. It's education-based, STEM-based, and I can tell you, when we do not have an exhibit in that place, we kind of hear about it. So we try to keep those coming. And we have asked for some sponsorships on a couple of these exhibits. Y'all are probably aware we got the Middle Tennessee Electric one because we took a picture last week. So that helps our budget, but also has a good buy-in from our community partners.
Questions for Mike on this?
I looked at the brochure, it looks pretty.
It's based on a PBS show, and I've never watched it, but I heard it's very popular.
I think my kids were too old for it by the time.
Same
it came
here.
out.
It's popular. My kids watched it.
It is
But it's very
popular.
educational, so, yeah.
Okay, item 19 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Cigna for the town of Smyrna's employee health, medical, dental, and stop-loss coverages for the calendar year 2023. Rex?
Mayor and council, this is Jeff Craig's agenda item. He's attended to some family situations, so I'm taking over. The town of Smyrna recently requested RFPs for the town's employee health, vision, dental plans, including stop-loss insurance. Cigna has been the administrator of the town's medical plan since January 2012 and has provided excellent service over the years. Cigna was the only bid for the 2023 calendar year. The fixed administration cost will be 3.3% less than our current rates. However, the stop-loss coverage has increased significantly this year due to very high catastrophic claims the past 3 years. The increase in stop-loss premiums, as quoted, is a 39% increase. However, by adjusting our pooling point from 50 to 100,000, we reduced that premium from $2,387,380 to $1,588,747. This will potentially save the town anywhere between $100,000 to $600,000, depending on the claims for the year 2023.
Questions for Rex on this?
So what does adjusting our pooling point mean?
We're a self-funded plan, so the pooling point is the point between $0 and, right now, the pooling point's 50,000. The town pays that. Anything over that amount would be covered by stop-loss insurance.
So by moving it, the town would cover up to 100,000, which obviously reduces the premium.
Yes.
Gotcha.
The net effect is a savings.
Yep, got it.
Think of it as a deductible in essence.
Yep, understand. Okay.
Other questions for Rex? Okay. Item 20 is consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 28, parcel 78.00 to go from PUD to C4. It's requested by Rock Springs LLC. The property requested to be rezoned contains approximately 74/100ths of an acre and is located at 1071 Rock Springs Road, and this is a second reading. Hey, Mitchell.
Mayor, Council, this is a rezoning request from PUD to C4, about 900 feet west of the intersection at Rock Springs Road and Old Nashville Highway. This is part of the Sam Riley Corridor Character Area, which consists of a supported mix of retail services, both local and regional in scales, high-density residential in certain locations. This existing PUD was approved for a dance studio and a accessory apartment to be attached to it. Was never constructed. The new owner and applicant of this site has requested to rezone this back to C4 to allow for other C4 type uses for this property. The Plan Commission did recommend approval of this 6-4, 0 against, and staff would recommend approval of this request.
Nothing's changed from the first reading, has it?
Still the same.
Okay. Any questions on this one? Okay, we'll move on to item 21, which is consideration of a resolution relative to the plan of services for property located on tax map 26, parcel 18.00. That's our housekeeping item, and we'll move on to item 22. Nope, that one's not it. Did you need to say anything on that one, Mitchell?
No, item 21 is the housekeeping item for item
Yeah.
number 22.
Okay. 22 is consideration of an ordinance relative to the annexation and C2 zoning of property located on tax map 26, parcel 18.00, requested by Michael Hollingshead, containing 4.03 acres. The property is located on West Jefferson Pike and Hickory Grove Road, and this is a second reading.
Yeah, this property is located on West Jefferson Pike and also has road frontage on Hickory Grove Road. It is part of the 840 Gateway area, which does support a mix of both local and regional uses in scale, including retail, hospitality, restaurant, high-density residential, and industrial warehouse uses. Surrounding zoning is the PUD, which is the cornerstone in Smyrna in town, and then surrounding that in the county is CS, which is commercial services within Rutherford County. Services, as far as the item 21 is concerned, the town would provide all of the utilities for this site. Sewer is not yet available, but will be part of the Jefferson Pike widening project that is set to be completed here in a couple years. So with that, the property is currently undeveloped, and staff did recommend approval of this project 6-4, 0 against, and staff would recommend approval.
Questions on this one?
Again, no changes, I assume, since the last time we discussed this.
Should be the same as far as I'm aware. Yep.
Okay. Item 23 is consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 19, parcel 25.03 to go from IT to PUD. Requested by Camden Venture LLC. The property requested to be rezoned contains approximately 6.3 acres and is located at 704 Swan Drive, and it is a second reading.
This property is located at 704 Swan Drive, about 600 feet east of the intersection at Weekly Lane and Swan Drive. It's existing industrial tract, several different users inside of it, and the applicant that's looking to locate inside this, the use is not supported by the I2 zoning district. So with that, they are requesting the PUD zoning to go along with it. The applicant has a automotive sales business that they would like to locate in this. The part of this is that they would like to utilize a portion of the building for the vehicle sales. Most of the business sales originate online. Vehicles are stored inside the building. No new construction would be part of this development. The PID would add vehicle sales as allowed use, but keep the building setbacks and uses allowed in the I2 district. And there also is no repair to be conducted as part of this business. Plan Commission did recommend approval of it, 6-4, 0 against, with the two conditions. The first one being that no repair work be done at this location, as well as vehicles for sale would be stored inside the building. And with that, staff recommend approval.
We had quite a bit of discussion on this one and even had the owner speak, so any other questions on this one? Okay, we'll put that on the agenda and move on to item 24, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 28E, Group A, parcel 16.01, to go from R4 to C2. It's requested by Barry Royal. The property requested to be rezoned contains approximately 20 acres and is located on Imperial Boulevard, and this also is a second reading.
Property located on Imperial Boulevard and also has frontage on Front Street as well. It does border the CSX Railroad right-of-way along the entire eastern side of the property. Land use plan supports mixed residential, which would support a mixed variety of housing types in varying lot sizes, and it's intended to serve as a transition between other character areas. Starting zoning, we had a couple of them, R1, 4, R6 as well as C2 and C3. Staff would recommend approval of this, and Planning Commission also did recommend approval, 6-4, 0 against.
Questions for Mitchell on this? Okay, thank you, sir. Move on to item 25, consideration of a resolution to set dates and times for the 2023 council meetings and work sessions. You all had a chance to look at these? Any conflicts you see or anything we need to discuss?
Yeah, only thing I was gonna mention, nothing I think we need to discuss, but there are, and this is really just for everyone, there are a few meetings that are not our normal first Tuesday, second, or fourth Thursday. So just kind of look for those. Obviously, the ones that are less than the 8th of the month are not the second Tuesday. And Thanksgiving's, I think, is on a Monday night.
Right.
But yeah, just point that out.
What we were trying to do is make sure that it was the first Tuesday following the planning meeting, so we didn't get ahead of the planning.
It's hard to put that in the calendar, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But that's what we looked at, so.
Second Tuesday, fourth Thursday is pretty easy to program, but
if you're.
following planning is a little difficult.
If you're meeting before planning, then it makes some of those projects have to wait 60 days.
Does it help you all if calendar invites are sent once these are passed?
Yes.
We will send those out. I just want to make sure everybody was comfortable
Perfect.
with the times.
Okay. Consideration of appointment of one member to the town's Municipal Industrial Development Board to serve an unexpired term ending in 2025. We had a resignation from Paul, yes. Used to live on the corner.
Colette.
Paul Collette, thank you. Paul Collette has moved and sent in his resignation. And so if anyone is interested in serving on the town's Municipal Industrial Development Board, you can go online and put in an application. Item 27 is consideration of an appointment of one member to the Stormwater Advisory Committee to serve an unexpired term ending in 2024. So if someone is interested in serving on the Stormwater Board, we encourage you to fill out an application. Item 28 is consideration of appointment of one member to serve an unexpired term on the Rutherford County Library System Board ending in 2024. Steve, anything you want to say about that?
Nope, obviously, we'd like to have somebody from Smyrna. We try to keep two people, myself and one other, on the Rutherford County Library System, since we obviously have a branch here. Sylvania done a great job, but she had to leave to help take care of an ailing parent. So I understand that sometimes those kind of things happen. So she served very well, did a great job, but we need to find somebody to step up and take her place.
And I made sure to tell her that if life circumstances get back to where she can serve on this board or another board, to let us know, and come March, we would look at that. People do need to know that that board does take place in Murfreesboro.
Yes, well, mostly. We travel to different libraries, so sometimes it's in Smyrna, but yeah, it is at different locations every month. It's not just in Smyrna.
Right. Okay. You also can sign up for that on our Town of Smyrna website. Item 29 is discussion relative to residential parking driveway use. Second be you.
Council, I'll start this, and I think Jeff's going to pick up on it, but we've had several folks in the town call into codes questioning about cars parked in driveways and what constitutes a vehicle that's operational and that kind of thing. So the first thing I'd like to say is it's actually two different ordinances. There's an ordinance about the number of vehicles that can be parked in a driveway. The maximum number is 5. Now, we have to use some common sense in that. So if you're having a party at your house on a Sunday night and there's 6 or 7 cars there and they're not parked there all the time, that's not going to be something, I don't think that's the spirit of the ordinance. It's for those that are parked there on a regular basis. So we look at that. But the second part of this is what constitutes a vehicle being operational? And the spirit of what we enforce is basically if a vehicle is in a driveway, it has an existing up-to-date tag on it, and it's not being torn apart, it's not up on blocks, it's not got the motor out of it, those kind of things. But, we had somebody that wanted us to go and start knocking on the door and make them come out and start their cars. If that car is operational from the standpoint it has a tag and it's not torn apart, then we're not, I don't think that's the spirit of the ordinance to start with. But I just want to make sure that we're functioning the way the council would like for us to on that. And Jeff, I'll let you chime in because we've had several conversations in-house about the spirit of those ordinances, so.
Yeah, I guess dealing with the 5 vehicles in the driveway issue first, which is Title 16, I believe, 15. Basically, the ordinance actually does even state that this is not for temporary vehicles that are there for no longer than a week. So if you have somebody visiting you, that is allowed. I know some people may think that it's 5 and only 5, but that's not the truth. If you're having a party or even some folks over for the weekend, that is allowed under our ordinance. They'll just permanently park in there for that amount of time. With the dealing with Title 13, which is dealing with the junked vehicles, which includes a lot of other adjectives under that. Inoperative is one of those things. Just as Brian stated, I would not recommend that our codes officials ask people to start their vehicles in the driveway. I think we can begin getting into some Fourth Amendment issues by getting into people's cars and those types of things. I think it's like any other codes infraction. It may take an investigation of knocking on the door, speaking with the folks. Do you have any? Are there license plates on the vehicles? Those types of things. And using just some common sense, just as it would be with our short-term rentals. Would never advise the codes enforcement to ask every resident to show proof of their residency. So it would be if somebody's renting on Facebook or on VRBO or what have you. So everything like that's going to take a common sense investigation to be able to prove their case to the judge. But to my knowledge, we've not had any other issues with the ordinance itself, and I do not have any recommendations to give you to make any changes.
For me, I won't speak for the whole council, I mean, that's exactly the way I see it. I don't want to see our codes enforcement people having to go out and asking people to start their cars. I mean, I think they can look at a car and tell whether it's operational, if it's got up-to-date tags, if the tires are all drivable, I mean, and like you said, if there's not parts and pieces sticking out. But I don't want to see our codes enforcement people harassed by people in the community that are nosy neighbors and just want to tattle on all their neighbors on things that might not be an infraction. I understand all of us at one time or another have lived with somebody probably in our neighborhoods that have not been within codes in the town, and those are the ones we want our codes department to go out.
I think the other point that has to be made is there's a process, and several times when we get calls, we're actually already working, the letter has gone out, we have to give them 30 days to come in compliance, then we can ticket them, take them to court, and then depending on what the judge does as far as how much more time or if they'll, put a fine on them immediately, those kind of things. But I will tell you, there's a house right down here on Enon Springs Road in front of the police department. And Steve, I know you'll know which one I'm talking about. There's a silver car that sits in that driveway that the back bumper is missing, but that gentleman's driving that car every day. He may be in a position where he can't afford to get the car fixed, but it's an operable car. So I think the thing we have to use is good common sense. But I just was real concerned about knocking on somebody's door and say, you've got 3 cars out here, and I think one of them's inoperable. Come out here and start these vehicles and prove to me that they'll run. If they're not, like I said, up on blocks, or if all the tires are flat, or those kind of things, and if it's got a tag on it and it's in date, I think we have to be very cautious to what we're asking the citizens to do and overstepping a little bit. So my point is we want to implement the code the way this council wants it interpreted. I think Jeff has expressed his thoughts, I've expressed my thoughts, but if you have a different opinion and you want us to enforce it a different way, we'll be happy to figure out how we can do that. But I just think it's overstepping from a standpoint of
Does
the town.
anybody on this council want it to be done any differently that's currently being done?
I think common sense is the right approach, right? I think the way that the ordinance is written, it allows enough ambiguity for those exceptions. We ought to be able to use common sense and make decisions about these kind of things. You can look at a vehicle generally and tell as much about it as going out and starting it. Just because a vehicle starts doesn't mean it's operable.
That's right.
So that to me is just a slippery slope we would never want to get into. And I kind of agree with what Mary Esther said. I think, there's a fine line between keeping our town nice, clean, and orderly, and then also respecting someone else's property rights and their own personal rights. And I think we've got to balance that as citizens, and we can't expect the town to step in the middle of that either.
And I agree. I've got some rentals property and always concerned about what's going to be in that. And with the way it's written in that, if it's broke down, if it doesn't have tires, if it's on blocks, if it's that type of thing, we've got that covered. And I think that's where we start at. It would be hard I wouldn't want to have to manage our guys having to go out and try to start a car every time that we think that there's something wrong. So I'm good with what we got, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Our coach people do a very busy and hard job. They're out there every day. They field a lot of calls. I know that we will have to sometimes get in touch with you, Brian, and say, hey, can you have codes go by and check this out? We always do. I think we have to give our codes officials some discernment to be able to look at a property or look at a vehicle and decide if it's a door I need to knock on, okay, but just to make that a mandate, I think we're just killing us manpower-wise. We don't have the manpower, quite honestly, to have that kind of oversight. I do understand where a neighbor or somebody that lives in a development or subdivision has some concern. I get that. And we've all probably factored that into the same, our own subdivisions. We've probably seen things. I know I've had to do that with some people before, but it is a process, Brian. And a lot of times there's some frustration in the time it takes for the process to work through it. But anytime I check back on that, the process is engaged. And it's just the letters have to be served and the citations have to be served, and then eventually a court date has to be set. So I hope that people that are calling us with concerns, legitimate concerns, understand that there is a process that we have to go through. But we want the same thing. We want beautification of the town as much as they do. I do have a question with the 5-car limit parking. I know we also have an ordinance about where you can park your cars. So, for example, if you have a 2-car driveway and you're trying to park 5 cars in your grass, that's not permissible.
That's correct.
They have to have a hard surface or a gravel surface or something to park those vehicles on, even if it's in their front yard at this point. Is that still capping us at 5 if they pour their whole front yard gravel and park 6 cars?
Yes, 5 is the maximum that can be.
Okay, that was my question, because I wasn't clear on that either, so I'm glad you clarified that. But that's my point of view.
Anyone else?
I'm in agreement as well. I think it would be overreaching if we did anything else.
Good?
We're good.
Perfect. Okay, we do have something under other tonight. Cedar Stone Tennis Pickleball Court Contract. Mike, you're back up.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for considering this. We received the contract yesterday for with the State of Tennessee Department of Environment Conservation for the tennis and pickleball courts at Cedar Stone Park. As you well know, we got a grant for that, an LPRF grant, and it was originally $500,000, so the total project was $1 million, and subsequent of the original grant, they've allowed us to add $250,000 to the project, so we'll split that 50%, so $625,000 each, being the town and the state. But I called them yesterday, kind of laid out what the timeline of the approval process and our workshops and council agenda, and they recommended to us to, if we could get this under other tonight, to get it on the November council meeting, that would be the best scenario for them. So that's why you're seeing it tonight instead of next month. So I appreciate Brian giving this a look and allowing us to do that as well.
Council, any questions on this? You received it through email.
I don't, nothing on this specific. Is this related or not related at all to the bathrooms we were building or thinking about down there?
This is separate, but we are in design on the restrooms to bid those out. They're not part of the grant. They weren't in the original scope. We added those in the budget, but they are, the design's nearly done, and we'll go out for bid on those as well.
So kind of handling it, even though it's one phase, kind of two separate projects.
It is, it's in the same budget year. That's, being a grant project, this will take a little bit of time to go through the process and environmental and that type of thing, and there's quite a bit of work for the tennis courts and pickleball courts, just because it's 3 or 4 feet lower than the parking lot, have to be brought up that much fill to make it work.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Mike, this doesn't have anything to do with this, but is there, when they're playing pickleball, do we have a time frame, meaning do we turn the lights off at a certain time at night, or?
Yes, sir, we do now. I mean, they play at Hilltop Park. We've got 6 courts lined over there, and they use a portable system. And a lot of times, they're playing with basketball, so they may be using 3 or 4. And depends on what time of year. We'll turn the lights on for them, and they may end at 8 o'clock or 8:30, and then we turn them off right after that.
Okay. I just happened to see last night, there was a special on TV about pickleball, and
yes, sir,
and how much louder it was versus the tennis courts that people used to play on, and
right.
And I just didn't know if there was a time when they were talking about these being on all night long and people playing late.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, these lights are computerized, so we can set the time to go off whenever we want, just like the ball field lights. They'll be the same thing. But if we're like at Soccer Park, we usually try to finish operations by 9 o'clock over there. If you're near a subdivision or something like that, luckily Cedar Stone out that way is towards the school, won't be as big a deal. That park closes at 10 anyway.
I think it's great, but
yes, sir.
One of the processes, I don't even know if this is an official process, but it's a process that's been in the town for a long time, and I've seen it work many times. Police officers in the area often have come into the parks like Lee Victory or volunteer if it's close to park closing time and they've got to close gates or make sure that people are out of the park. I've seen them get out of their police cars and cut off lights that have been left on, et cetera.
Oh, yeah.
So that's part of the process that we kind of have, that's kind of a de facto process that happens already. I've seen that work many times.
Right.
A lot of times, especially ball fields, we have volunteers running those leagues, and a lot of times they'll close the stand and finish up, and then they get in the car and drive off and forgot to turn the lights off.
Yeah, or think somebody else is coming behind them.
So I've seen that many times.
Yeah, and our tennis courts, like at Lee Victory Park, they have switches, but we override those with a timer. So when it hits 11 o'clock, they go out, whether you turn the switch on or off. Sir?
Is there a gate on this park where we close it at night?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's part of the bathroom conversation as well. Right now, the only bathroom is up by the complex, so with the new one, they'll be able to close off those fields separately.
Other questions or comments? Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Okay, updates from departments. Hal? Yeah. Rex? Carl? Mitch? Tom? Mike? Todd? Charles. We're going to call you Charles tonight.
We're not talking about Eden Springs either. Mayor and council, October is Cybersecurity Month. Coincidentally, it kind of coincides with Mr. Wilson. This is his one-year anniversary of joining the town. But one of the goals in the past year we assigned to him is increase our cybersecurity. Recently, we've engaged Wiser Training to do the employee cybersecurity training. As part of that partnership, Wiser Training has also made a custom website so that we can offer free cybersecurity training to the citizens and staff's family. The town-branded site contains information on seven cybersecurity habits for personal online safety, including passwords, multi-factor authentication, updating your computer and mobile devices, backing up your data, protecting your social media, safeguarding your privacy, and avoiding scams. And that website, there's also a series of videos that they can watch, but this is all free to the public. And how do you get to that site? You go to townofsmyrna.org. Under the Community tab, you will see the online cyber training for the public. It's a great service, and we're excited to be able to offer cybersecurity training for the community free of charge.
Great. Questions for Todd on this? Thanks, Todd. Chief? No? Amber? Ron D?
Mayor, Council, I have a couple things I'd like to share with you. I received an email today talking about Coach Rakes. I don't know, some of you know he had a hip replacement. Everything went well. He'll remain at Stonecrest for another couple of days, and then he'll be moved over to Adams Place for some therapy. But I know several of you have a very close relationship with him, and I wanted to share that information. Also, I hate to bring this up, but Kevin Sutter, who is one of our firefighters, Kevin's father passed away this past week, and we want to extend condolences to his family. And unfortunately, I don't have any of the information right now as far as the services or anything, but if we get that, I'll get it out to you. Also, I wanted to share with you, this is not one that we have very often, just seems like every week, every council meeting, but some of you know Derek Francis that works for us in the utilities department. Derek is one of those guys that just, I mean, he sets the bar for customer service. And we get several folks that write in and talk about how well he treated them and the work that he did and the work he performed. And we've got one here from 802 Stewart Valley Drive, Cody Eason, said that he was truly amazing, wanted to make sure that he got his praise. And so I just want to say thank you to Derek and what he continues to do. Also, we received one on a gentleman by the name of Jason Snyder. He works in the utilities as well, and just wanted to pass along the compliment. The customer said they received a bank draft authorization with a note attached that said, we received a bank draft note authorization with a note attached on how courteous and polite Jason was to deal with. She said she would hire more just like him, and I said, so would we if we could find them. One other thing I want to share with the council, as far as notes of congratulations, we received a monitoring report from the Smyrna Municipal Court for the driver's education program. This came in through Brandy Dover down at the courts, and this was a very good report. Talked about how well we're doing. They were very appreciative of the type of class we run and the ability we have to serve the customer. So I wanted to share that with you. A couple of announcements that I have. I think they'll be up on the screen. This Saturday, October the 29th, from 10 to 2, at the Smyrna Police Department, the National DEA Take Back event will be taking place. So if you have any outdated drugs or any drugs in your home that you want to get rid of, you can bring them down, and this will be they will be taken from you and disposed of on a proper way. So that'll be this Saturday from 10 to 2 at Smyrna Police Department.
Do you have a social media?
We do.
With that one?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I'd love to be able to send out to the citizens.
Yes,
I didn't know
yeah,
if you make
it's
one
out there,
for
but
them.
I can
Okay.
get you. Tennessee Secretary of State Trey Hargett visited Smyrna and Laverne the other day. I had the opportunity, Mike Sparks and myself and Laura out at Hollingshead SRM office. We gave them a tour, and Laura had asked me to come out just in case they had any questions about things going on in Smyrna and that kind of stuff. We had a great visit and appreciated the opportunity to be with our Secretary of State. Next, Town of Smyrna utility employee, all of you know David Pruitt. he finally pulled the trigger on his retirement, and once he made up his mind, he moved pretty quick.
I was going to say, we had short notice on that one.
We had short notice on that one, but he's been a staple for us in the utility business, and it will be hard to fill his shoes and the knowledge that he brought to the system. But we wish David the very best in his retirement. He's over 40 years with the town of Smyrna, so I guess that's a pretty good run, and we do appreciate him. Do want to share with you also, Heather, if you'll stand up, I want to introduce Heather Kent. I think most of the council have had a chance to meet her. Heather has come on board now. She's been with us 2 weeks as our new PIO, and she's already jumping in both feet and learning quickly. I got tickled. I told her I wasn't going to take her to Rotary until the second week. I didn't want to throw her to the wolves too quick. And as we were driving down to Rotary today, she just was expressing to me how much she's really enjoying the job and how much she's looking forward to being part of this team. And I will be honest with you, when we interviewed Heather, I didn't have any anticipation it'd be anything different. I felt like she would fit in on this team very quickly. She has a background, 16 years with Gannett, which is a newspaper, the Daily News Journal, the Banner, and those type things. And then I think she actually was the editor for the Murfreesboro Magazine for several years, and then she spent a little stint in the mortgage business as vice president of marketing with one of the mortgage companies. But she brings a wealth of knowledge, great spirit, and we're just really excited to have her on board. Thank you, Heather. Talked about the utilities a minute ago. National Public Natural Gas Week, something near and dear to my heart, 30 years in the natural gas business, so don't be laughing, Mayor. But that was October 2nd through the 8th, and we've got a picture up of all of our natural gas employees. They do a tremendous job out there taking care of the town and making sure that the pilot lights are lit. Sometimes that's at 2 in the morning. We've been out there a couple of times, right, Mike? But these guys, they'll put in a day for you all day long. They're very customer service oriented, do a great job. So we just want to show some appreciation to our natural gas folks.
Isn't that Derek on the end?
It is. Derek's on the left. A couple of upcoming events. Veterans Day, Friday, November the 11th. That's a Friday. It's a Friday this year at 11 o'clock. And it'll be at our Jeff Coos Memorial. We hope the community will come out and support this. We'll be working with our local VFW as we have in the past, but and we will be closed here at the main office. Again, I remind everybody that, you know, the town offices will be closed on Veterans Day, but our police department, fire department, parks, golf course, all of those folks, the water and sewer plants, they'll be out there making sure all the services are rendered as needed. But for some of us, we'll have a day off, and I hope some of you will come out and join us at 11 o'clock at the Jeff Coos Memorial as we honor our veterans. Coming up very quickly, it's not far from being Thanksgiving, and just want to remind everybody that we'll be closed on Thursday the 24th, Friday the 25th for Thanksgiving. And again, I remind everybody that police, fire, wastewater, the water plant, I think the golf course is open one of those days, not both. They're closed on Thursday, right? Yes. Parks and Rec will be open, I think, with a modified schedule on Friday, I think. So those services will be rendered. Next, the Smyrna Fire Department A-shift personnel did a training on new equipment for non-ambulatory patients. This was Wednesday, 10/19, and our guys were learning some new technologies and new ways to deal with employees in need. It could be from anything from a car wreck to a fire, and we appreciate how that they continue to stay caught up on training, and the chief, always supports the training needs of our officers, our fire officers, so we appreciate that. We have a grand opening that Mr. Spearman attended for us for the Center for Pediatric Excellence, and Dr. Derek Johnson, and we appreciate them bringing their business. This was actually last Friday on 10/21/22, and we've had several recently, doctors, dentists, those kind of things, bringing services to our community, and it's always needed. I wasn't sure if that was just Todd or if that was Phil Wilson up there with him. I didn't know if he had a puppet on his hand or what, but we do appreciate Phil, and I will tell you several times Phil and Carl come out and support things that are going on in the town of Smyrna, and that's really refreshing to see our county commissioners come out and share in some of the things that we've got going on.
Anthony as well.
Anthony as well, yes.
But Dr. Johnson served on the Boys and Girls Club board with me, so I know Boys and Girls Club is near and dear to his
Yep.
heart, so he does a great job on that.
And of course, the last thing I have tonight, and I promise this will be my last thing, love where you live, folks. It's just amazing as I ride down the streets and see some of the litter and some of the things, not just on our city streets, but on our state routes and on our interstates and those kind of things. And I will tell you, my wife and I, as many of you know, we just spent a week away up in East Tennessee. Let me tell you something. When you ride through Knoxville and some of those towns, you do not see the litter that we see. And it's a personal choice folks make, you know. Please take a little pride in your community, keep your trash in the car till you get to a trash receptacle at a service station or at your home. Don't throw it out the window. Secure it if it's in the back of the truck and those kind of things. But love where you live. We have a great community. Let's be proud of this community. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, sir. Jeffrey L.
Nothing from me.
Raquel?
Couple of things. So, Mr. Rakes, I'd like to say I hope you have a speedy recovery from your surgery. And for Mr. Francis and Mr. Snyder, thank you for the job that you're doing and the professionalism that you're showing to our citizens. It's always good to hear when citizens have good reports on different employees. So thank you for what you're doing. Let's see. There's been quite a few things going on in the town, so I'm trying to remember all the things that I've been able to attend this week, but I know some of the other council members are also going to talk about those things. But I had the privilege of going to the fire department open house. It was at a different location this year, but it was a lot of fun, and it seemed like it was a lot more spread out and good for people to come out, and the weather held up, so that was good. Thank you, Chief. And also attended the haunting on Front Street last weekend, so that seemed to go very, very well. There's a lot of people coming out for that, and a lot of people took part in the actual haunted house, which was not something I was going to do, but for all those who attended, they seemed to have a lot of fun with that one. And then this past Tuesday, myself, along with Tim and with Steve, we had the privilege of interviewing on WGNS radio with Wayne Blair and Ricky Hall during their Tuesday Smyrna Hour. And we were able to discuss a lot of the growth and the development and different things that are going on around town in Smyrna. So thank you to both of them for allowing us to come and talk about the town. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Great. Thanks, Chief.
David Pruitt. David Pruitt was kind of an icon amongst the town. He just had been here forever. And really and truly, he was a lot like Derek Francis or Jason, except that he was a lot more subtle about the way that he got the job done. But we're going to miss him, I know. And, of course, we'll still see him around town and such as that. He's not going anywhere, but he's a very good fellow. Another thing we've got going on is the early voting at Smyrna Town Hall. There we go. Started October 19th and goes through November 3rd, which is next Thursday. Election day will be November 8th, which will be the following Tuesday after that. Just a few interesting little notes is that Smyrna totals through noon on Wednesday were 2,478. The county's total through noon Wednesday was 16,355. So that's an interesting turnout so far, but I encourage people not to wait until the end of it and wait on the last day. The flow's been steady, but it's not overwhelming, so you can go down and you can get in pretty quick and get out pretty quick also. Not hard to do. I advise everybody to, one of the things that seems to come up is there are 4 amendments to the Tennessee State Constitution, and read those before you come so that you do know and familiarize yourself with what you are approving or disapproving. You just need to bring a state or a federal issued ID. Another note to take, something else to take note of is that on Election Day, you will not vote at Smyrna Town Hall. You'll go to a normal precinct. You can actually go to any precinct, but we will not have voting behind Smyrna Town Hall. One other thing, my niece, Caroline, darn, I forget her last name. She got married.
Really close with
Hutchins, yep, I mean, you know. So Steve and Caroline Hutchins have a new child, and she's going to be called Lulu. She is a beautiful little baby. Most coal babies are pretty, then we grow out of that, but maybe, you know, she won't. All right, Tim?
Can I say one
Sure.
thing? I forgot to say, welcome to the team, Heather. I had that on my list and I overlooked it, but welcome. There we go.
Ready?
Tim?
Okay. Condolences to the Sutter family. Derek and Jason, thank you for what you do for the town, shining example of the employees we have. To David, enjoy your retirement. You've earned it. Heather, welcome. And last but not least, happy birthday to my wife, Donna. Today is her birthday, and we'll be celebrating more soon.
Did you get her a gift?
Of course I did. Who have I been sitting aside all these years?
Heather, some people, we won't talk about who, but he's sitting beside you, doesn't get his wife a gift for her birthday. But we won't talk about that, right, Todd?
He says something about every day's a gift or something. I don't know what he was talking about.
But we're working on it. We're working on it for Beverly. So. Anything else?
Shop local, be kind, and vote local.
You did that well.
Thank you.
Are you passing the baton, HG?
Just backing him up today.
Oh, it's being passed. Okay,
Wow.
there you go.
It's an auto there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Jerry?
My condolences to the Sutter family and the Coleman family as well. Derek and Jason, thank you for what you do on a daily basis. I've known Jason since he was, I think Patty had him in the first grade, I think. So he's a really good kid, so young man, I guess now. And we're so glad to have him. Coach Rakes, hope you get better soon. We usually see him at the first Friday of the month for breakfast, and so hope you'll get back there soon. So please take care. David, known David a long time as well, and what a blessing to this town. He did a fantastic job for us, and so just enjoy your retirement. It's a pretty good gig. Heather, welcome. Heather has helped me on a couple of things already, and I guess keeps me out of trouble probably, but we are so glad to have you, and just jumped in there with both feet, and we certainly appreciate you joining us. I think I've got one more that may come up. There we go. The mayor and I know quite a few from the council as well, had the honor last Friday to go and serve at the Bean Dinner. It was hosted by the Smyrna Lions Club and also the Senior Activity Center. It was held at the Activity Center as well. Proceeds went to the Smyrna Lions Club site and projects and the Senior Citizens as well, Senior Citizens Center as well. Had a good time. You can see from that picture there, Marty, it was good to see him out that day. But we had a good time, didn't we, Mayor? I got to sit down, and as you can see, and everybody else stood up. And but I'm riding that horse as long as I can ride it. But we did. We had a great time, and just want to thank them for inviting us out. And that's all I've got.
I'm going to sound a little bit like a broken record. David, congratulations on your retirement. I hope someday I can retire. The way the market's going, I'm not sure that'll ever happen, but we'll see. To Derek and Jason, it's easy for people to say negative things, takes a little bit of effort to brag and to praise someone, and we appreciate the fact that you guys did enough work that it made somebody want to take that extra step to do so. So thank you for what you're doing. And the Sutter family, all of us either have experienced what you're going through or have ailing parents, and we definitely offer our condolences, and we're here for you as part of the family if you need something. Veterans Day is coming up. Also, November 10th, which is the day before Veterans Day, is the 247th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. Hoorah. I will be attending the Marine Corps Ball in Camp Pendleton, California this year. So looking forward to that. I'll be leaving on the 9th and coming back on the 14th. But 247 years, we started our little organization in a bar in Pennsylvania. So there you go. And the 11th, of course, is Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day to all of those veterans out there. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your continued commitment. And then Heather, welcome. There's a lot more to keeping us in line and making us look good than you've probably seen already, but we appreciate every time you have to do it. We appreciate the touch-ups.
Enjoyed the bean dinner as well. We all got to serve some beans and desserts and everything else. It's always good to fellowship out in the community and help the Lions Club and support them, volunteering, getting ready to serve the community the way we did, and our employees and everybody. Happy birthday. I call her Mrs. Chafe.
Thank you.
Right. Happy birthday, Donna. I hope you're watching. Heather, welcome. Everybody gets to welcome you tonight. Same condolences to the same families without being repetitive. The Sutter family. Thank you, Derek and Jason, for the service that you give customer service-wise to the town. Thank you, David Pruitt, for your 40 years. We appreciate everything that you did mean to the town. Coach Rakes, quick recovery. We want to wish him well. I know that I spoke with Dan Eppright this week. Dan is sometimes in our meetings, but the announcement is that Dan and Tricia's son, Matt Eppright, was selected for a promotion to Master Gunnery Sergeant. So I know Dan's a proud dad, and when you see him, he'll be glad that we remembered to recognize his son, Matt, tonight.
Also a fellow Marine.
Also a fellow Marine, yep. Condolences to the Dual Coleman family. Dual was a fixture in this community for a lot of years. And to John Upchurch tonight, his wife Ellen. John served as the chaplain to the police department for quite a long time. He's lost Ellen, and I want to wish our condolences to him. Remember to get out and vote. The days, especially in the afternoons, seem a little easier to get in and out. Sometime after lunch, if you're free, I'm telling you, it's a breeze to get in and out of there. So come on out and vote. We're weathering all the cold days, the wet days, and I probably look like I have a little sunburn because today I forgot my sunscreen and sat out there all day long. But one other thing, I see Captain Dwyer back there. We're wishing you a quick recovery too, sir. I know you've had a little surgery. And to Jerry. Jerry's been battling some back issues and back surgery off and on now for a little bit of time, and I know he'd appreciate your prayers for healing. He's struggling with it. He won't tell you that, but he has had a hard time with his back, so we're all hoping he gets well soon. Mayor, I know you're going to be talking about the First United Methodist Church celebration, so I'll let you do that. I think I have a couple of slides that are going to pop up here. The Ideal Dental grand opening was about 2 weeks ago now. You'll see some of us were able to attend. Myself, Jerry, Todd, and Brian were all there. They opened up their new business. They're right there on Sam Ridley Parkway over next to the 7-Eleven on Sam Ridley Parkway. And we had a good time celebrating with them. And secondly, the Smyrna Fire Department had their open house. And it was really well done, Chief. And you guys put on you really put on a good program out there for everybody. The space was great. I know sometimes we do it over across from the library. There's some construction going on across from the library right now. So they moved it out to the Rock Springs Road site. But I thought it went great. All the firefighters that were out there manning booths and helping the kids have a good time, taking pictures. Chief, you were out there mingling with the crowd and taking some good pictures too. It's always fun. It's always great to see the kids especially get out and enjoy it. I know Raquel and Gabe and Nora were there. Myself and Connie got out. Britt and Mary Esther, and I imagine some of these others came while I wasn't there. I don't know, but Brian and Pat were there. So thank you, Chief, for having the open house. It was wonderful. Happy Halloween. We'll see everybody hopefully Saturday out at Sharp Springs Park for our Halloween in the park. That's all I have.
So a couple of items for me on the slides. First of all, I want to say congratulations to our Smyrna firefighter, Brian Peck, was inducted into Middle Tennessee State University Hall of Fame, the Blue Raider Sports Hall of Fame. He played baseball for the Raiders and has served as a Smyrna firefighter for 14 years. There are very few, usually 4 or 5, that are inducted each year, so congratulations to Brian. Creekside Logistics groundbreaking ceremony was held on Tuesday, the 18th. This is going to be Class A industrial space and is expected in fall of 2023. I think we all know the need for industrial space here in town. Jeff Peach was there, Todd was there, Brian and myself, and I will say it was a little chilly that day. So. The town of Smyrna recently recorded a State of the Town message with myself and Brian. It was Monday, October 3rd. We had John Black from the airport talk a little bit about what's taking place out there, and Paul Latour from the Chamber of Commerce was there. Patrick Kamack, also from the Chamber, was there, and we discussed our community, things that have happened over the past year, and things that are taking place. And I think you have the ability to, through the town website and through Facebook, to see that if you want to click on. And are we showing it on Channel 3?
We are.
We are, okay. Congratulations to Thomas and Hutton Engineering Consultants on their 75th anniversary. Britt, myself, Brian, and Pat were joined by Jerome and Teresa for their celebration of 75 years with Thomas and Hutton. So congratulations to them. Mark, you talked a little bit about Halloween in the park. It will be this Saturday. It's presented by Smyrna Parks and Recreation and sponsored by Smyrna Gas Department. It is from 3 to 8:30 at Sharp Springs Natural Park, and we encourage everybody to come out. The costume contests start at 3:30. Okay, so I would say be there by 3 o'clock if you want to be, and it's starts with the young ones and works all the way up to the older kids, but lots of stuff to do, and each one of the booths will have candy for the kids. Upcoming events, our employee luncheon will be December the 2nd at 11 a.m. at our Smyrna Event Center, and the Event Center will be closed that day for us to be able to celebrate with our employees. Town of Smyrna Christmas Parade will be Sunday, December 4th at 2 p.m. on Lowry Street. It will go from Mayfield Drive all the way to Nolan Drive. Please remember to bring non-perishable food items for our Nourish Food Bank, and our employees will pick those up along the parade route. If you are going to be a participant in the parade, we ask that in place of a monetary dollar amount to entry into the parade, that you bring items, or you can choose to write a check to Nourish Food Bank. Are we done, or can they still register to be a participant? You can still register, and you can do that on our Town of Smyrna website. Raquel, you talked a little bit about haunting on Front Street. We have a couple of pictures from that night. It was presented by the Parks and Recreation Department. It was Friday, October 14th, and Saturday, October 15th at the Depot District, and lots of fun had by all. We had on Wednesday the 19th, the American Hero Expo. Motlow invited us out. It was put on by Motlow, the National Guard, Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce, and this was an event that was providing career training to high school students in Rutherford County that were enrolled in criminal justice, IT, cybersecurity, and EMT health science programs. It gave them an opportunity to go into the classroom with individuals that are in these professions. So it gave them firsthand experience and the ability to talk to individuals that are in the profession they might choose to go into. Got to meet Metro Deputy Chief Dwayne Green, who I did not realize is actually married to Yolanda Green, who is with, I forget which bank. First Tennessee? First Horizon now, First Horizon. And Rutherford County Sheriff, Rutherford County Chief Deputy now, Britt Reed, myself.
Did you get that title right?
I had to look because it's wrong on here, and I had to think back what he is. So he just got a new promotion. So then Metro Police Chief John C. Drake, Motlow State President Michael Torrance, and Rutherford County Sheriff Chief Keith Lowry. So it was nice getting to have discussion with them, and I will tell you, a lot of the discussion was about how can we assist each other. We don't stop at our town limits on either side, and what can we do to assist each other. Had a really great day on Sunday, Smyrna First United Methodist Church's 150th anniversary celebration. Raquel, HG, Jerry, Mark, and myself were there and had a great lunch, and just want to thank them for inviting us out. We presented them with a proclamation, but 150 years is quite a while, so congratulations to them. Update on the Coos Memorial repainting. Estimated completion date is Friday, November 4th. I will be honest, I have not made my way over there yet, but I've heard from quite a few people it's pretty cool. I've also had quite a few people, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing to the plane? So I'm sure it's going to look great when it is finished. Last but not least, the Town of Smyrna's annual Christmas Parade Food Drive. Our goal is 50,000 non-perishable items to benefit Nourish Food Bank. It is November 14th through December 9th. The food drive donations will benefit the Nourish Food Bank. Chief, what about yours? When is yours is starting?
Yes, ma'am.
When? November 2nd.
The week of the 8th. 7th through the 13th. November.
So, the fire department is also holding a food drive that benefits Nourish Food Bank that has been going on for
26 years.
over 25 years. How about that? Does that work? More than 25 years, and it will take place from November, what'd you say, Heather? 7th through the 13th. So, as you can see, we've had a little bit going on here in the town over the past month, but I hope what you see through all this is community. It's about ways to engage our citizens, and I just want to thank all of our employees for all you do to help us to have a great town here in the town of Smyrna. Anything else? Let's see, do I have anything else? I don't have anything else. Council, anything else? Okay, if nothing else, we are adjourned.